Welcome back to another episode of The Dirt Road. And today's the takeover. I'll be taking over. I'll be your host for today. My name is Seta Maapola. And today we have a treat for you. We have a special guest. We have a special guest who goes by the name Dr. Titch.
Yep.
Dr. Titch, how are you feeling today?
I'm excited. I'm ready, Set. I think we're going to have such an awesome time today. And they're going to have fun.
Yeah.
So they better not disconnect. They better break every distraction
100%.
and focus 110.
It's going to get spicy. It's going to get a bit hot. It's going to get a bit hot and interesting. And I think you should also grab a notepad, a pen there. It's going to get very spicy. Dr. Titch, for those who don't know you, would you kindly share a bit about yourself, maybe your background and how you grew up? Yeah.
Okay, a little about myself. I am married to one beautiful wife, the only woman I've ever had sex with, and the only woman I want to have sex with.
Wow.
We have 3 children. My anniversary is on the 31st of August, 21 years of marriage. 21 years.
Amazing.
Yeah, we've been together, enjoying each other. One of our books is actually called Married and Loving It. So I am married and loving it. 21 years of being married and loving it.
21.
Yep. 3 beautiful children. And we run a church. We run 12 businesses. I've authored 23 books to date.
12 businesses.
12 businesses. We make movies, we do coaching, business consultancy, publishing, we run a school. I'm forgetting some of the other businesses, but...
Okay, I think the list would be shorter if I asked you, what don't you do? Because what do you mean? What do you mean? You touched on something very important. You said books.
Books, yeah.
And I'm looking at books here. Are you trying to tell me you wrote all of these?
I wrote all of those books, yes.
Wow. Incredible.
Yep.
Incredible. Where did this passion start from? What inspired you? What is driving you? Because someone who has 12 businesses and written how many books?
23.
23 books. And what's the drive force? What's pushing you?
I've been in ministry, pastoring for almost 27 years, 28 years actually. And in all those years, I began to hit this brick wall of frustration that the quality of people's lives was not changing.
Yeah.
Then I realized that sermons were not as powerful as we thought they were.
Yeah.
It is the accurate assimilation of information that changes the quality of life, as opposed to just sitting in a sermon.
Yes.
So I then shifted my ministry to have a strong coaching element.
Yeah.
Then I began to see people succeeding more in money, marriage, relationship, personal growth, personal success.
Yeah.
Then I realized that coaching seems to leave an indelible mark on the minds of the people more than just me preaching a 1-hour sermon.
Yeah.
Then the next question was, how do I solidify this content?
Yes.
I then realized that writing books, now that takes the assimilation of the information beyond just hearing it and just listening to my sermon, but to reading it.
It's physical now.
It's not, exactly.
Yeah.
So the assimilation levels increase
Yes.
by the number of methods by which you're taking in information.
Yes.
That is why things like podcasts are powerful, because people are listening to us.
Yes.
If they are able to read the content, take it even further. So,
And they can also re-listen.
Absolutely.
If it's a podcast, they can reread.
Exactly.
If they miss something. No, that is very powerful.
Yeah.
Your books. Which one is your favorite one? I'm curious. I know writers are gonna be like, I love all of them because I wrote them and they all mean something to me. But I'm sure there's one that sticks out for you.
Well, the one that actually sticks out the most for me is a book called The Judeo-Abrahamic Wealth Factor. One of the ones on the pile there.
Say it again.
The Judeo-Abrahamic Wealth Factor.
Okay.
It's basically designed, and we've produced probably about 7 or 8 millionaires from that book.
Wow.
Just using that content helped hundreds of people come out of debt and help many more make more money. So it's basically teaching people principles on how to make money. So I coach people, money, sex, marriage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Impressive. The greatest sex life ever. Talk to us about that.
My wife and I, like I mentioned, we've been married for 21 years.
Yes.
Our first year of marriage, we loved each other so much, madly in love, but our sex life was terrible. I was.
I need to stop you. It's the transparency for me. No, I need you. I need you to run that back because.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we hear such honesty.
Okay.
You know, on a regular basis. So I need you to run that back for me.
Okay. So here we are, madly in love.
Yes.
We wait. Honeymoon night comes.
Yes.
We get ready. We undress. We take a bath, and then we made love for the very first time just after we get married.
Yes.
You have this feeling that something's missing. I penetrated, I ejaculated, everything happened that's supposed to happen, but something was missing. And that continued for a year.
Wow.
Until I realized that because I grew up as a pastor and we had a very strong no sex before marriage policy. So we taught that, I taught that, and I had a very strong aversion to sex. So now here I am getting married and I know part of marriage is having sex. But I had never had a conversation about how to have a great sex life, how to make love to my wife. I'd never been trained what to do, what not to do. So here I am getting into the bedroom, and for me, sex was like WWF. You just go in there, bang, bang, bang. The referee says 1, 2, 3, you win. It's over. Good night. You go to sleep. So after a few weeks, you're thinking something's wrong. My wife is not happy. I'm feeling frustrated. Something's missing. So that's when I then said, okay, I'm a studious person. I want to find out what am I doing wrong. And it's that research that then began to give me nugget after nugget. Slow down, take it easy, know where to touch, where not to touch, know what to do, what not to do. And the more I practiced those principles, the more I got satisfied, the more my wife got satisfied. We had no real orgasms in our first year. Second year, we started having occasional orgasms. Third, fourth year, we were on multiple orgasms. So now the key was, okay, these principles work.
They're working.
It's bringing home the bacon. It's
Come on now. Come on, somebody.
So after a while, we then had a seminar, which we did call The Greatest Sex Life Ever. And that was, and to date, it's still our most attended marriage seminar. Well, the other one that's also highly attended is OMO. OMO like the soap, but OMO represents Operation Multiple Orgasm. So we help couples how to...
Didn't see that one coming. Pardon, my bad.
So those seminars became the most popular seminars, OMO and The Greatest Sex Life Ever. Even unsaved people were coming to our seminars. Men were coming that didn't go to church, would come to our marriage seminars because they said, we like pastors that are real. You're talking about sex. Other pastors are not real. They don't talk about it like they don't want it or like it's not real. So we learned to be candid. These guys, when they come to the seminars, they don't ask the Christian questions. They ask all those questions that us Christians will bite our nails and become uncomfortable and say, no, we don't talk about that here. But our seminars are no holds barred. We talk about
Let's talk about it.
Because every single human being has sex thoughts on their minds.
100%.
So let's help them have great sex.
Exactly. You reminded me of something that happened about a year ago. I was speaking at an event. It was also Christian-y in a way. And my topic, the one that I was speaking on the day, was sex. And I spoke about it. I took out sex toys and everything, and it was great. But what stood out for me from that day was that a pastor who was also on the panel of speakers approached me afterwards. He was like, thank you. He was a bit emotional. I remember the day because he made me emotional. He was like, thank you. We don't speak about these things at church. We don't. He said to me that a lot of couples come to him crying because they don't have these conversations, these real conversations about sex. And that touched me. Tell me, how do you address these common misconceptions and stigmas, surrounding sex, especially, to the religious community? How do you address these?
For us, we go on full on, like you've already picked up.
Yes.
There's nothing holy. There's nothing sacred. There's
Come
nothing
on.
like a sacred cow. That's a no-go area.
Yeah.
We have had quite a bit of attack.
Yeah.
We did a blog,
Yeah.
and the title of the blog was "Lessons from the Harlots."
Ooh.
So we did a study of all the harlots.
That title is spicy in its own.
So we did a study of harlots in the Bible.
Yeah.
And we said, if we study the harlots in the Bible, God didn't put the harlots in the Bible accidentally.
Yes.
Just say, He wanted us to
It's
learn
supposed
something.
to teach us something.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
let's study the harlots.
Yeah.
So we extracted lessons from the harlots and we put this blog out. It was the most read
Yeah.
of all our blogs,
Yeah.
but it was also the most attacked.
The most critiqued.
Women
yeah.
said, "Why are you trying to teach us sex from harlots?" And I said, the bottom line is, if wives were having sex with their husbands like harlots are doing, the husbands wouldn't be going to the harlots. The harlots would be out of business. The only reason harlots are in business is because wives are careless.
Yes.
They're negligent to learn lessons from the harlots.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
No, that is, I understand.
Yeah.
I get why that would, get so many attacks.
Yeah.
What are some of these hard questions that you face in these events that you speak on? Like, what are some of the common questions that you get asked?
Is it okay for me to masturbate? My husband is on a business trip and I'm left at home. Is it okay for me to masturbate? Or I'm on a business trip and my wife is far away at home. Is it okay for me to masturbate? Is it
Yeah.
okay for me to watch porn,
Yeah.
get myself turned on? Is it okay for me to use vibrators to
Yeah.
get myself turned on? And
Yes.
then when I'm turned on, I look for my husband. These are the questions that a lot of people want to know. Should I use Viagra? Should I use some medical processes
Yes.
to spruce up our marriage or our sex life?
Yeah.
So these are conversations that are real.
Yeah.
People need to know.
Yeah.
So we get asked those questions probably every seminar we do.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And there are those who are like, I just prefer mine like natural. I just want it from my man. I don't want any sex toys or anything
Yep.
in my marriage. Dr. Titch, how would you advise parents in terms of having a conversation about sex and intimacy with their kids? How would you advise them?
Okay, that's a common question actually. So we answer it a lot. We even have written some content in a book that's coming out.
Yeah.
The power pillars of parenting. So one of the conversations in there is how do you communicate sex and sexuality to your child? We advise parents to start talking to their kids as early as 3, 4, 5. Kids are already discovering their sexuality. They're discovering that my brother is a boy and he's got an instrument that's different from mine. He's got a penis, I've got something else. And so then we tell the parents, never use euphemism. Don't try and clean it up and call it a nunu, a pee, a cookie or whatever.
Yeah.
Call it what it is. That's a penis, that's a vagina, or if you're speaking in your vernacular, whatever it's called in your vernacular language, so that they grow up with the understanding of what it is.
Yeah.
And if they begin to ask questions, or before they even ask questions, begin to teach them, this thing is valuable, protect it, don't let anybody touch you, don't let anybody abuse you. If anybody does, tell us. If anybody wants to touch you, scream, run, and find an adult, find a safe place.
Yeah.
So we teach them all of that. So the older they begin to grow, they'll want to know, what is it for?
Yes.
Tell them, yes, as much as it's for bodily functions like urinating, but it's also for reproduction. So make sure you manage it and protect it and keep it for your husband and or your wife.
Yeah.
So the kids begin to, I always say to parents, if your children begin to find an alternative source of truth, which is not the mom or the dad, they will lose respect for you.
Wow.
Because children will have the highest respect for the place that they find truth from.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So it's very important that we teach our kids and we're honest
Yeah.
with them,
Absolutely.
or else the world will teach them that.
If you tell them babies come with a stalk
Yeah.
during
They
the night,
fly, yeah. Yeah.
you're going to be in trouble trying to erase that and now bring the truth, because
Yes.
they're going to get it from
And
social media.
they're
They're
going to
going to get it
struggle
from
to come to you
Exactly.
when they want more information about
That's it.
something, or they're confused about something. They're not going to come to you.
Absolutely.
They're going to go to Google.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about singles? How can single people navigate their sexual desires and experiences while adhering to their religious beliefs?
Okay.
I'm asking you this because you're a pastor.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I want you to bring it in from that angle.
Okay. One of the principles, I'll teach a principle that we teach to couples in marriage,
Yes.
then I'll reverse it for the singles.
Yes.
We teach couples that your romance begins to die as a couple when you stop fueling the fire of romance.
Okay.
So the fire of romance and sexuality in a couple's life has got to be fed. Just like a fire needs to be fed with coal or with wood. So with singles, if they keep putting firewood in the fireplace,
Yeah.
the fire will keep burning.
Okay.
And this is where the challenge is. So we've got singles that are feeding themselves inordinate amounts of porn and sexual content that drives their sexuality high.
Okay.
The hormonal releases and the processes don't recognize that there's no ring on
Yeah.
your finger.
Yeah.
The processes are set in motion by sight, by thought, by sound, by experience. So you're already experiencing the movie and your body is saying, this is real.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality.
Yeah.
Your body is producing the hormones that get you hyped up and that say, we are ready to have sex now.
Yes.
So the fire is at an all-time high. Then it has no expression. Then it gets an all-time high. It has no expression. If you repeat the cycle, you hinder your own sexual expression when marriage comes. But if you release it with somebody you're not married to, you set a cycle of dysfunction. And this is the crisis that we are in globally.
Yeah.
Singles that are hypersexual, who then become low sexual performers in marriage.
Sure.
So we talk about why is that singles want to have sex while married people, especially women, don't want to have sex. The men are now having to find alternative sex. More sex in singles than in marriage.
Yes.
That's a problem.
Yes.
It's because the fire is being fed by the singles by the amount of content we're
For
consuming.
years.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've got to break the cycle. We've got to come up with a real conversation to say, should I be watching
Yeah.
this content? And as one who was exposed to porn as early as I think I was in grade 10, grade 9. I was exposed to porn. A friend came with I was at a boarding school. A friend came with some French magazines. This is way back, I think 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Porn was not as advanced as it is today.
It was a magazine.
It was the magazines. And porn in those days was women with bikinis.
Yes.
They were dressed. That was what we considered porn.
Yeah.
Not the stuff
Which
that
goes to show you how far we've come, because that's nothing now.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
So I was exposed to all of that. And I remember the cycles I went through.
Yeah.
It messed up my head. It messed up my focus.
Yeah.
It messed up my academic pursuits, etc., etc. So porn becomes the substitute. And when it becomes an addiction is when your faculties have been abducted or hijacked by something that breaks its focus from what is fundamental and core.
Sure.
So many people that have addictions, whether it's porn or sex or whatever it is, their system has been hijacked. They're in a cycle that is meeting a legitimate need in an illegitimate way. So we need to break out of any addictions in our lives. And I had to go through the journey as well, work through this thing and fight until I broke the cycle of porn. And my brain that was hijacked by porn had to be set free so that I could get into a normal cycle of my human sexuality.
Sure. So I'm a 53-year-old woman. I was in a relationship. I'm single now. I want to use sex toys, but I'm also Christian. Talk to me.
Sexual expression outside of marriage is a no-no.
Okay.
That's considered a problem, a sin. The Word of God admonishes that you need to remain pure. And it's interesting that you're using this 53-year-old example.
Yes.
Paul,
I did that on purpose.
Paul actually gives us a whole conversation about widows, and he says the widows that are younger mustn't stay single. Let them remarry as quickly as possible. Why? To avoid the trap that comes with you not having. Exactly. So if you're a more mature widow and you still have a sex drive, find a husband. Find somebody to have it.
It's hard, doctor. In this day and age, you are 53 years old. It's hard. It's hard.
We've facilitated for people in their 50s and 60s to get married. So hard is a perspective. Let's go to those old people homes. You'll find somebody there and give yourself some new energy, some new hope, and you find these people that were ready to die. Because it's it's interesting how that sex drive actually brings longevity.
Ooh.
God has designed that as long as there's an expectation for something great in my future, I will keep wanting to live.
Sure.
When people lose their sex drive and they lose their picture of a better tomorrow, the tomorrow becomes gloomy and death becomes the only alternative. So I encourage people, if you still have a drive for sex, hey, find a man, find a woman, get married. Hump as much as you can.
Oh my God.
At that time, you're probably retired and you're on pension, so you're not going to work.
So you have extra time.
You have extra time to do anything the whole day.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
How do you approach the topic of sex toys?
Okay, that's another interesting conversation.
Yes.
And I'll kind of really bring in a bit of science.
Okay.
Because the answer I've often given is I'm not pro-sex toys for couples in a normal, healthy marriage. If there's medical issues or some form of dysfunction and you need to rehabilitate your sexuality, then that is an alternative. If your sex therapist, your doctor recommends it, by all means, use that to revive.
Okay.
But if it is just on your normal sexual cycle, there's a bit of a problem, because here's what happens. Here's what happens from a scientific perspective. And I have dealt with many couples. My wife and I were often called the sex doctors. Our doctorates are not in sex, but we're called the sex doctors because we've helped many couples. And many couples come to us saying, our marriage is in trouble.
Yes.
And you find that couples that have used or chosen to go the route of replacing normal sexuality with sex toys, there's a principle that kicks in. It's called the law of diminishing returns.
Okay.
That means if a normal penis has a frequency of movement of, let's say the speed is 5, you're going to get yourself a vibrator, which probably has 3 or 4 or 5 speeds. The penis will never be able to compete with the speed of a vibrator.
Absolutely.
So
not.
diminishing returns kicks in. If I can only get turned on at speed 15 and the penis can only give me speed 5, that means I will never find satisfaction in a normal sexual cycle.
Okay.
That means my husband or your husband becomes redundant.
Okay.
So what he carries is now insufficient to meet a need which could have been met legitimately and happily under normal circumstances. So it's important that couples avoid the trap of depending on getting a high that can only be supplied by a toy and never by a normal human being. That's where the crisis is, the diminishing returns. And what happens is when you get to speed 15, sooner or later, speed 15 on the vibrator is no longer sufficient to meet the need. So you want more,
you want speed
and
16.
more.
Speed 16 is not there.
Exactly. So it creates the cycle of the pursuit of more until you go into spaces that are absolutely unhealthy, absolutely dangerous to your whole human being and your sexuality.
100%. What do you say to couples who are saying this is something that we use as an add-on? Our sex life is not in jeopardy. We are doing quite well. I think that's also another misconception that people have, that people who, purchase sex toys, that their marriage is in shambles and it's not okay. And so they are using this, which is, what you explained, because you can easily depend on it. And it could be, like a savior that saved your relationship. But what do you say to the ones who say our sex life is actually quite good and we are not using these toys as replacements? We are using them as mere add-ons.
Your question comes in almost as an oxymoron.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
If my sex life is quite good, according to what you're saying, between me and my wife, why would I need something that's not her?
Need is a big word.
It is?
I said want.
Okay. Why would you, whether it's need or want, why would you want an alternative to your husband or to your wife? Why would you want stimulation from the toy, the gyration, the vibrator, the dildo, the whatever it is? If we are in a space that we are calling good, then there's no need for extras.
No, I think we can always explore as humans. When you are sex positive, you are someone. Okay, you want to speak about that? We'll get there. We'll get there. Someone who's sex positive, you are, exploring your body. You are exploring the body of your partner, and so this is another avenue. I'm not saying it's the only one, but to add, and it's not to replace, because it's something that, for example, we're being real here, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So your husband just ejaculated, and maybe you ejaculated a few times, but maybe your wife is not satisfied fully.
Yep.
And, well, you know how the male organ works. The recovery time takes a bit longer.
Yeah.
And that's where the sex toys come in. Let's hear.
Here's how I put it.
Okay.
I tell them, when we were created, we are, your whole body is an amazing collection of sex toys.
Okay, break it down. Break it down for us. Break it down for us.
I have 10 vibrators. Not to mention the 11th vibrator.
Oh my goodness.
I can continue to have a firm, stiff erection right here. And that will supply sufficient amount of stimulation, just like as much as a penis that has become soft because it's ejaculated and it's taking a break for the next few minutes. There are other parts of my body that are still firm, that are still hard. That is how actually multiple orgasms are achieved. It is now by using every other form. I mean, the first orgasm should even begin to come before there's penetration. Before I even use my penis, 100%. My wife should have at least 1 or 2 or 3 orgasms. By the time I penetrate, we're getting on to the major one. And then after I'm done, I should be able to give my wife 2 or 3 more orgasms after my penis has become soft and has evacuated the holy channel. So it's important to understand that we are multifunctional in our design. And as long as we're using what is on us, there is no need. Because what happens, and this is what has happened with some of the couples that we've had to deal with, after a while, because the husband sees that he can only achieve 1 or sometimes 0 orgasms with his wife. His wife can't get an orgasm with him. But the moment he uses the toys, she's getting multiple orgasms, she's going on and on. After a while, there's this feeling of I'm inadequate, I'm not sufficient, I'm not good enough,
I'm not man enough.
And now he begins to have the same sensation of betrayal with a toy that he would have had he known that his wife was having an affair with another man. Because he's there watching his wife going through all of this, because it's this thing going and it's working on her, and he's like, I can't do that. And many men have that struggle. Why am I failing to give this to her?
Yeah.
And that's why we talk about having a great sex life.
Yeah.
If you have a great sex life, by the time you've done what you need to do, she's so knocked out. She's not thinking of, I want a toy or want
something,
whatever. Yeah. And you're not thinking, maybe let me get a dildo or let me get whatever in the cupboard to help me go further.
Okay.
So it is this cycle of dysfunction that has been established that we now need to find corrective measures for.
How can couples have healthy and honest conversations about sex? Because I think a lot of us don't, and that's why you see the people the way that you do, because they don't have honest conversations about sex. How do you think they can approach this?
If it is because there's reservations, one of them is afraid to talk and come out, I would encourage you use tools like books.
Okay.
Or we designed what we call sex coupons, which help you to kind of communicate with your spouse that today, let's try a different style. Today, let's do a pizza. Today, let's do whatever, something that's creative. And pizza is not a food, by the way.
Okay, please. Yeah, because I'm like, okay, you're making me hungry talking about pizza. What do you mean?
Pizza is basically, you go to the pizza shop and they tell you, we've got margarita, we've got Hawaiian, we've got the polo here.
Yeah.
But if you'd like to mix them all up, or if you'd like us to remove this, so you're in essence building your own pizza.
Yeah.
So from a sex perspective, couples can become so adventurous that you're building your own pizza. I'd like a mixture of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that. And then we have this whole pizza that we have made of fun, enjoyment, fulfillment. So those cards kind of help you to now communicate. But I still encourage and insist that couples develop that ability to talk, not only before, but also during. Because it's the communication during that is explorative. Touch me there. Oh no, I like that. I like that. Keep doing that. Don't stop. Especially for us guys. Guys, ladies, guys are begging you to talk to them during sex. Tell him when he's doing something that you're enjoying. Ladies must learn to talk. Don't just be, don't just be a fish.
Nando's chicken there on the braai stand.
Exactly. Communicate. Make some sound. Tell him what's good. Tell him I enjoy this. I enjoy it when you touch this part of my body.
On the contrary, actually, doctor, I've heard a lot of women complaining about men just being quiet, and the request that I've received from women is that, can you growl a little bit, or make a sound, something, show me that you're here and you're enjoying what we're doing, and encourage me. That's actually the request that I've heard from women, a lot of women.
Well, that's interesting.
Because
that's interesting. I've gotten a few of those, but it's more the ladies that are quiet on the men. I mean, I don't understand a man who's quiet during that whole process. I can't keep quiet. I call for mama. I call for Jesus and the angels to come in.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
That's a heavenly experience. Don't keep quiet. Say something. Say something.
This is beautiful.
Exactly.
I'm enjoying this.
You gotta let each other know.
Yes.
Let each other know. Not only does it help the person do it better, but the encouraging environment becomes affirmative. And there's this mutual benefit of us enjoying what we're doing, because you're letting me know what you want. And sex, the fulfilling element of sex is, I've done something to my wife that makes her happy, complete, content, and satisfied. So when she communicates, when she groans, when she says something, when she just says, oh, come on, just keep doing that, it's like, oh, good, I got something right, man.
Let me continue
doing it.
Harder. I want it harder.
Work it, brother, work it.
100, man.
Yeah.
Men who are afraid to have conversations about sex. I'm sure you've gotten a couple of those. How would you advise the brothers to have healthy conversations with their partners about sex?
The simple principle is, you will never get what you've never taught your wife to deliver. So every wife comes as raw material. she doesn't know what you want. So if you don't tell her what you want, if you don't tell her what you enjoy, I tell my wife I like this position. There are times when I'm all tired and I'm like, and it's like, okay, getting orgasm is going to be hard work today, but if you use this position, we can
reach the promised land sooner.
Exactly, acceleration takes place. So it's important that we communicate. So I tell guys, don't be afraid. Your wife actually wants to learn. She wants to hear you tell her. So that again, she knows that she's delivering the right product. It's amazing how that we can communicate openly about the meals. I love chicken and I love it fried and I want it with spice.
So very vocal about it. Very vocal.
So let's have the same element of being vocal when it comes to sex. Hey, honey, we need more spice. We need it. Hey, I like this lingerie. Don't come into bed wearing 1, 2, 3. No onesies in my bedroom. I want you to wear this, wear the stiletto.
Can you speak about that? Can you please speak to the women about that, the attire and how they present themselves during sex, before or in the bedroom? Please. They're going to be upset, but I need you to speak about it.
I tell them the worst thing you can do is just be bland, boring, and you get into bed and you're wearing Vote ANC 1974, and it's like. And a tracksuit, come on.
And
what are we doing? This is not a onesie. Oh my goodness, onesies are worst.
Oh no, they're terrible.
It's hard work to get to the promised land.
Oh my goodness, bro.
It's like you have to work so hard. It's like, where is this thing? Somehow when you're all turned on as a husband, finding that zip is hard work.
Oh yeah.
So they must simplify it.
It's a struggle. It's a struggle to find the zip.
One day, 30 seconds trying to unstrap my wife's bra. And she says, what's wrong? I said, I can't find the hooks. It's like, it's a simple bra, but I'm gone.
But because you are not, the temperature is higher.
Exactly.
It's a bit hard.
So definitely, ladies need to understand that the big thing is appeal.
Yes.
It's appeal. And appeal begins for us through what we see.
Yes.
Sight is a powerful thing. That's why ladies get upset. You're walking through the mall. A lady walks past and she's got bum shorts, and the husband is like, I'm not going to look. She's looking at you thinking, are you going to look? And if you look, why are you looking?
And you do this.
Why are you looking? We're driven to look. We've got this spec thing that looks and does an analysis, size, height, structure, wobbliness. So it's important that she gives me that offering in the privacy of our bedroom. I want to see something amazing. And it's amazing. The software that God has put in us doesn't get tired of seeing the breast, doesn't get tired of seeing the bum. Doesn't get tired.
Never.
21 years later, and I'm still, every time my wife...
And you're still there. Like,
when my wife is changing or showering, I'm sitting there and I'm like, come on, baby, I like that. Shake it.
21 years later.
21 years later, yeah.
Amazing.
So dressing is important. And I suppose the ladies, my wife also says, honey, there's a way that you must dress that also turns me on.
Yeah.
So it's also important for guys to know your wife wants, even for people like me, my six-pack went missing a long
20
time.
years ago?
20 years ago, It's her fault too that the six-pack disappeared.
How is it? Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine.
But I have to dress in a way that's appealing. I've got to smell in a way that's appealing.
I think we need to speak to the brothers as well, because my wife has told me a couple of times, like, I get turned on when you wear formal clothes,
Okay.
Yeah, so I rock it once in a while just to, yeah.
Okay, I like that one. Yeah, so definitely, like, guys need to learn what it is that's very appealing. Because guys say, my wife is not so excited about sex. It's because you're not turning her on.
Yes.
You got to turn her on.
And you're not finding out what turns her on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it goes back to what you said earlier on, communication.
Yeah.
If you communicate and there's good dialogue, your wife will tell you, like you said.
Yeah.
She says formal clothes.
Yeah.
If your wife says, if you wear a police outfit, I get turned on. Go buy one. Go buy it.
Yeah. Go look for a costume store. You'll find something.
Says come into the bedroom and just have a bow tie on and nothing else.
Yeah.
Get that bow tie. My wife likes it when I dance once in a while, so
Oh,
I have to
wow.
dance.
Can you dance? Or
A
you
little.
can dance for her?
I can dance for her.
Okay, I respect that. I respect that.
Yep.
How many rounds do you think people should have, more or less?
Okay. The round question is another common question, actually.
Okay.
I encourage, if let's say you are on a weekend, you're
Yeah.
on a period of time where work is not as intensive and your cycles at work and business are not so intensive,
Yeah.
you can just increase it. And that goes by what I call the law of demand. The male cycle of semen replacement works on a 24-hour biological cycle. And that means comfortably a man can release an X amount of semen along with the sperm on a 24-hour cycle.
Sure.
But you can, within an evening, maybe go 2 or even 3 times. I've heard of people that talk about 4, 5. I've not ventured.
You've
I've
not,
not ventured into that space yet. I'm not sure if they're using medical things to
or
boost
something.
anything.
Yeah, something there.
But I'm not pro medicines or pro chemicals in my bedroom. This is what I have.
Yeah.
This is what I'm
me.
bringing. So as many, if you're having one of those weekends or events, then go for as many as you can get an erection for. If you can't get 5 erections, don't be under pressure.
Yeah.
Just give her one good one that knocks her out, and then use the other tools that I mentioned to drive her to multiple orgasms and greater experiences. Yeah.
Okay. And then the frequency, let's say in a month, how many times do you think it should be had?
That's an interesting one. Let me answer it 2 ways. I encourage couples to have sex every day. Daily sex.
Every day.
Every day.
Married couples every day.
Every day, yes.
Kids and all, work and all, every day.
Every day.
Okay.
That should be the goal.
Okay.
You may miss the goal once in a while here and there, but your target must be daily. Why? Because for me, when God gave us that 24-hour cycle of replacement of semen, I think he was communicating something.
Oh.
So science is telling us that 24 hours minimum, one release is perfect. Why? Because again, if there isn't regular release of the semen on the man's behalf, frustrations build. Why? Because the hormones, his hormonal cycle is fighting against him. Because once semen is dispatched and it goes into, I think they call it the epididymis, which is the place where it's held before it is released. If it builds up, the dispatch is saying we've dispatched and we're about to dispatch some more products, but delivery is not taking place. So once the dispatch is full, the product is there ready for dispatch, and it's not delivered, the system begins to go into chaos. We are manufacturing. We're busy working and releasing this stuff, but it's not going
It's not going out.
So that's why men become grumpy, become irritable. It's not even by choice. It's hormones that they have to learn to master as well. But the hormones are saying we're ready for action.
But there's no
no
one
action.
is letting us out. We're
Exactly.
trying to get out.
So the minimum should be that 24-hour cycle. And here's an interesting, the second part to my answer is this. Some years back, we did an experiment. We called it the Sexperiment. And we said, yes, in a seminar, we said to the couples that are there, we want you for the next 30 days, go and have sex daily, no matter what. You're angry at each other, you're super tired, you're frustrated, you heard your cousin passed away in Limpopo somewhere, whatever is happening to you, have sex.
Okay.
The results were phenomenal.
What was the goal of the experiment?
The goal was I'd done a teaching on the greatest sex life ever, which we call sex for cash. That couples that have lots more sex make more money than couples that have less sex.
It's the first time I'm hearing this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I did a paper, I did a blog on it some I think it was 11 years ago. Yahoo gave some stats six years ago. And they said that couples that had sex, I think, what was it? 4 times a week were making 15% more income than couples that had sex once a week or less.
Okay, I need to.
So
start working.
I studied the science behind that.
Yeah.
So I challenged the couples and I said, let's find out if this is true.
Yeah.
By going 30 days flat out sex every day.
Yeah.
If you're stuck and the period begins to visit during that 30-day period, try sex in the shower, because you can have sex in the shower while when she's on her period.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just keep up those that kept the goal and went through. Here were besides the fact that 9 months later we had more babies popping up.
So you are the reason for overpopulation. It's your fault.
I will not deny that one. But what we did see is couples fought less. And by fighting less, they were able to plan better. By planning better, they were able to be more confident.
Okay.
By being more confident, they were able to perform better in their job, in their workplace, in their business. And once there's confidence, delivery, clarity of thought, performance increases.
Okay.
And that naturally translates to more income. So the experiment worked. We proved that you can increase your income.
I like that. And I think I have to back you up there and say that I think my wife and I are the same. When we argue more, we pause. We're like, when was the last time we had sex? You know? And it's like so true, because when you're having more sex, I mean, you're intimate. You are more connected. You will fight less, definitely. I just didn't know about the being productive elsewhere. But I guess, we'll have to pick up the pace.
Here's some interesting science.
Okay.
There is in the human brain, there's a part of the human brain called the nucleus accumbens.
Okay.
The nucleus accumbens has a part that the doctors call the pleasure center.
Okay.
So anytime I have any pleasurable experience, the pleasure center registers it. That can be making love to my wife or eating a burger that is amazingly delicious.
Yes.
The next time I see the logo of the place that I had that burger, my system says, remember that.
Let's go.
Remember, let's go and have this burger again.
Yeah.
So what happens is the pleasure center is directly connected with the prefrontal cortex and a part of the brain which creates strategy. So the prefrontal cortex and the pleasure center are connected. So anytime a human being has a pleasurable experience, the pleasure center sends a signal to say, let's create a strategy to repeat that all. Now you'd hear this talked about in the motivational arena, where you make a sale or you hit your target for the year. They say, spoil yourself, buy yourself a shoe, do something. The pleasure of getting the shoe, the pleasure of getting the shoe says, why did I get a shoe? I got a shoe because I hit the target. The brain says, how can we get the target again?
More targets.
So that we can get more shoes.
Exactly.
So it works in the sexual arena. People that have highly developed sex lives, creative in meeting their sex lives, their prefrontal cortex is also highly developed. So they become brilliant at creating strategy. So this is why I always tell couples, this is why adultery or illicit relationships are dangerous, because you're meeting a need. The pleasure center doesn't know whether the pleasure came from a legitimate source or an illegitimate source.
Okay.
It then says we need to repeat that again. So if a husband starts finding greater pleasure
elsewhere
from an outside source and not the wife, the pleasure center becomes highly developed in creating the strategy of getting and covering up. So this is the crisis of affairs in a relationship. So people become advanced in creating wrong strategies. So the key here is we need to move back to becoming amazing. I mean, my wife and I, our sex life is like, we are crazy. Let's have great sex.
Are you nasty?
Nasty, it needs defining.
Okay.
It needs defining. We are, in the book we talk about hot, sloppy, and fun. So our sex life is hot, sloppy, and fun. That means anywhere, anytime, anyhow.
Wow. It's on.
So sex in the car, sex in I mean, our craziest experiment
Yeah.
one time was sex on the N14.
What do you mean?
Parked on the side of the highway. And every time cars flashed by, it was at night.
Yo!
You're thinking, I hope I don't see a blue light.
What do you mean?
No, you got to make it crazy, hot, sloppy, and fun. So what does that do? It makes your pleasure center now have fun anytime, anywhere.
Yes.
Your prefrontal cortex, which is part of why I've become brilliant in creating business ideas.
Yeah.
It's a great sex life. A great sex life makes men become very creative in making money. So for the ladies that want their husband to make more money, give him more.
Oh, wow.
Give him more sex and you'll be amazed. And begin to dangle the carrot and say, babe, if you hit this target again and you make these sales, or you hit that sale award and become top salesman again, I'm gonna give you such sex, you're gonna call your mom and ask her to pray for you. You'll watch that guy perform. He will be a top performer month after month after month after month. What is it? It's the incentive. It's the motivation. It's the pleasure center sending a signal to the prefrontal cortex, the strategy section of the brain, and saying, let's create strategy that's going to give me a reward. There's a lot of women that come and say, my husband doesn't want to take me on holiday. My husband doesn't want to give me all these rewards and nice benefits. And I said, okay, what have you been doing? So, what do you mean? I said, how have you been incentivizing?
My husband doesn't want to have sex with me.
Exactly. You got to create an environment that is conducive and that incentivizes.
Yes.
And then, and it works both ways, not just the husbands. Sometimes the wives also need incentivizing. So both couples the couple must learn to create an environment that is conducive for a great sex life.
Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. Let's get to the nitty-gritty of things.
Mm-hmm.
The men who don't know what a clit is or G-spot. Can you speak to them, please?
Science, biology
Yeah.
is God created. God intrinsically created the human body
Come on.
to be the most amazing instrument in the world.
Come on.
And in it, he deliberately crafted the clitoris and put it there, hid it behind the clitoral hood to protect it, so that the Bible says the things that are hidden belong to God, but the things that are revealed belong to the sons of men.
Wow.
So you got to learn to fish stuff out. You got to learn to discover. Clitoris is real. G-spot, that super sensitive spot, that's real. Go back to your biology 101 and learn about the human anatomy, how it works, because you got to know where the sensitive spots are, because it's your clitoris and it's your G-spot and it's your parts of the body that become erogenous zones during the process of lovemaking that increase the probability of the orgasm and fulfillment and satisfaction. So you got to know where to touch. Men must learn, where do I touch? And sometimes you got to press the buttons in sequence. Before you start touching the clitoris, touch other places that heighten the experience and build up the momentum. Then you touch another part.
By the time you touch the clitoris, it's
explosion.
over.
It's over. It's over. The referee will come. 1, 2, 3.
Let's go to sleep. Squirting. What can you tell us about squirting?
Squirting is real. The pressure that couples have is that they want their wife to squirt like they've seen on TV. And when they don't get that level of result, they become discouraged or think it's not real. But if the build-up is done correctly, and it's not, we've jumped into bed, now you're grabbing for your wife and hoping to get an amazing result, it's not going to work. Like they say, if you want to be in heaven at 11, start at 7. So don't start at 10:30.
I hope people are writing these things down, because you're just out here dropping bars and bars.
So a lot of husbands think I can start at 10:30. Just after she finishes washing the dishes, putting the babies to bed, and all of that, then I start grabbing her, and hopefully there's going to be an amazing experience and she's going to squirt. No.
She's tired.
She's tired.
She's tense from the day.
Emotionally, she's disconnected. She's somewhere else. She's thinking about the bills. She's thinking about what she's going to wear tomorrow.
Yeah.
She's thinking about her shoes. She's thinking about the kids' lunch boxes in the morning.
Yeah.
So the key is begin at 7 in the morning. As you wake up, begin to build up. Women love to hear their husbands' voices. Your number one tool for turning your wife on is your voice.
Okay.
So learn to use your voice.
Okay.
Learn to talk to her.
Come on.
So during the morning,
Yeah.
talk to her. Build up to it.
Yeah.
Tell her I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight.
Yeah.
And I got some stuff that I want to do to you that's really going to help you to relax. I know last night you were tired.
Yes.
But I want to help you tonight.
Yeah.
Just help you to relax. Then during the day, send corny messages. Send messages that are communicating. You're on my mind. I'm thinking of you.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of what I'm going to do to you tonight. You're going to grab those sheets like, yo.
Oh my goodness.
What are you doing? You're playing around with imagery.
Yes.
Imagery talks about imagination. So women, here's an interesting stat that was proved by psychologists. Men are moved by physical porn.
Yeah.
Women are moved by emotional porn. Emotional porn as in what they read and what they hear. So if the men master the art of using vivid imagery to create pictures in your wife's imagination, it'll help her in the transition from a busy day, looking after the kids, running around, doing the grocery, to I'm ready for you.
Yes.
Then you create the right environment, the right ambience. And that's what then leads to her body. Because if the environment is created right, by 3 o'clock, she's already thinking, I'm going home and my husband has got something that is prepared for me. Her imagination is already sending hormonal signals into her body. She begins to lubricate 3-4 hours before you even touch her body.
7 to 11.
7 to 8. That sounds like that shop that we used to have. Do we still have 7-Eleven?
Yeah, it's still there. Still there in the States. It's still there.
The 7-Eleven, that's a principle.
I think adding on to what you're saying, outside of being vocal and creating imagery, I think men and women can have incredible sexual experiences if you said, for example, she's doing dishes at a certain time. You know that she's going to do dishes. I think it will also be beneficial. You can do those dishes too. I mean, she cooked, right? And she fixed the lunch boxes for the kids. You can also do certain things. I think that will also lighten her load.
Women get turned on by a man doing dishes.
That's facts. That's facts. I've seen it.
I'll be doing the dishes and she thinks I'm being such a sweet guy, but my mind knows what it's trying.
You are planning
prefrontal cortex already sorted things out. And then she's thinking, this guy, she comes
such a
and
great
gives
man.
me a sloppy hug from behind.
Thinking,
It's working.
She's like, I'm so blessed to have you. And you're thinking, girl, you don't know.
Exactly.
Dr. Titch, you are amazing. You're a great speaker, and it's an honor to have you with us tonight. Is there anything that you would like to, say or speak about your books, or any advice that you would like to give singles or couples or anybody who's, listening to this podcast? Are there any final words from you?
My final encouragement is this, from my personal testimony. 1 year, it was slightly over a year of lousy sex. We were having sex. I needed the sex. My wife knew her obligation as a good wife to give me sex. But it was not quality sex. It was not great sex. I want to encourage you, it doesn't matter where your marriage is, where your sex life is, it can get better. We call the book The Greatest Sex Life Ever to imply or to carry the connotation that it's a journey. Today, it can be better than last week. It can be better than last year. So right now, let's have the greatest sex life ever. So it's a growing process. That growing process begins by you learning and beginning to apply what you've learned. We often say that the biggest sex organ in the human being is not a penis or a vagina, it's the brain.
Yes.
So if you learn to structure your brain right, the rest begins to follow. Most men have this wrong concept of sex as this thing about conquering the woman.
Yes.
But sex is a journey of enjoyment, fulfillment. Even the Bible says that it's not about standing up for your rights, but it's about you understanding that my goal is to meet your needs and your goal is to meet my needs.
Yes.
We work at making sure that there's that mutual benefit and fulfillment.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter where your sex life is, it can get better. It can move from where it is until it's the greatest sex life ever. Apply your mind. Get some coaching, get into some sessions, guys. You guys don't like talking about this. You just like to meet and say, how you doing? Hey, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm doing great. It's good to see you, man. Is everything okay? Then you hear, how did your mate get pregnant? How did you get what happened? When we met, you told me everything was okay, but I didn't know your sex life was a mess. But I was too embarrassed to tell you that things are not working well. So let's talk about it. Let's work on each other. Let's encourage each other. Let's build the greatest sex life ever. It can get better.
I love that. I love that. Where can people reach you?
On my website, drtitch.com, drtich.com.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much, Doctor.
It's been awesome.
Hope to have you again in future.
Always ready.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in wherever you are around the world. We appreciate you. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Tell us what you thought about this episode. And more episodes are coming.